Hi there, it's Emerson at Tyrium Games. I've got a little tutorial to build for you guys. It might take a while, so if you're not interested in making different weapon shapes work with melee, then leave now. Or not, or just watch it out of interest. It could be interesting. So, one of the users called Old Billy Bones is trying to make a similar game by the sound of the things to me, and has asked for a little bit more of an in-depth tutorial. So I can just for you, Billy Bones, I will share what I do know, which I don't know if it'll be that helpful, but it might just help in some way. So I'll start at the start to really make it worthy of a proper tutorial. So normally what I've got with my setup is that all the weapons are using the same traces, but what I'd intended to do is change the traces for each weapon. And to do that, I've deliberately used the same weapon shape. So what I did, I quickly made a little scythe, because the original concept had the farmer with the scythe, but I quickly realized that was going to be hard to set up with where I was at. But now I know a little more, so what I've done is quickly made a scythe, and I've deliberately faced it the wrong way and up the wrong direction, just to show you how to make it fit your character. So this is the character that I'm working with, and I'll just do a quick play so I can swap the weapons between an axe and a sword and the hammer, which all look fairly similar. And I've got the traces set up so the hit reg is very, very good, and their weapons drop, and you can push them around, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's oops, excuse me, and the AI is still fairly basic, but it would do the trick for a game, I think. And I've got blood and third person. Alright, so I've made my scythe and I want to put it on my character. So what I need to do is import it. I've done the import because that's you'll need to figure that one out for yourself. I quickly made a physics asset for it, just a two-piece one, so that when it falls off, it has something more interesting than just rolling away. And also when he drops the weapon, you want to be able to scoot it around. I'll leave it as a blank item, and then later I'll throw a quick texture on. I leave the textures out, and I've just been adding them in Unreal because I suck at modeling and don't know Blender well enough to really confidently use it. But I'm getting there. I'm starting to get there. So what I need to do is get my character and open him up in the viewport and swap the mesh out to show you what happens to a lot of people, and happened to me before. So here's the character in the persona. You can see the traces that I've got set up along the blade. They're actually just a collision box, but I'm using them as a socket, which is much the same, I think, as far as I can tell. I had meant to come back and make them all the same size before I did this video, but it doesn't matter. So basically I made this one, then I made this one, then I repeated those. But what I'll do is I'll just show you how to edit that. So what happens is when I change my weapons, all I'm changing is the skeletal mesh. And because they're roughly the same size, I've been able to use the same hit. So as you can see, that changes, and he can swing that, and the hammer is much the same. But what if I want to use that scythe? So it's going to be huge and upside down and all kinds of wrong. So there you go. So he's holding that round the wrong way. It's big and it's round. It's completely wrong. And a lot of people would have experienced this kind of thing. And I only just figured out the other day. What you can do is go back to your item, and over here on the left side you have the import. You have the option of re-importing, and you can import with a transform. And so I've done this once already as a test just to make sure. So a little bit of guesswork. I'm guessing I need to go 180 on the yaw. Let's just guess 180 on the yaw. The pitch, yaw is left to right, pitch is up and down. I think that needs to go 180 as well. And the roll, probably 90. So then you can hit the re-import button up here on re-import mesh up at the top left over here, and that is wrong. So I'm thinking the roll can be 180. About half size looks okay. Pitch 90. Let's try that. Okay, no, maybe negative 180. Pitch. Nope. Your 180, minus 180 perhaps. Let's try that. So, I am failing pretty hard on this one. Hope you're enjoying watching. Ooh, shivers, where'd that one go? Hello, you're under the oh no, hello. Oh yeah, that might be it actually. Pitch minus 10, try that. Nope. So, there we have it. It's flipped around the other way. The blade is facing downwards. So, if I save that, so this is the thing. You can rotate it in your original file, but if you find it's a little out, you can adjust it here. I deliberately left this one all upside down around the wrong way to show you that. So, as you can see, now the blade is around the right way. In my file, I made sure the origin was where I wanted the hand. It seems to, so I guess if you had, I'm not sure about two-handed. I can't help you with that one. Eventually I'd like to figure it out, but at this point I'm pretty fresh, so I'm just sort of figuring it out as I go. Now, so if I give him this mesh, all the other guys, they're all running off the same blueprint. I have a so there we have it. We've got the scythe, and so have they. Now it would work, you know, I could use it and you still get hits, but the problem is if it's only going off the tip of the blade, which isn't ideal. So you want to kind of place a few along the tip. And where's the physics asset? Oh, there we go. There's his broken roly-poly scythe.
I'ma kill you, boy.
All right. So what I need to do now, I suppose I could, now that I have it round the right way, I could make. Now let's do this the easy way, shall we? Rather than making another texture, I'll just use the same as the hammer texture. So I've got the materials over here. I'll just quickly, that's the blade, so that's going to be, let's make it chrome. Metal chrome, and let's use my wood texture that I made for the handle. Wood texture material. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? Alright, now we've got a texture. That looks a million times better. Brutal weapon. So now the important bit. Now that I've changed the shape and size to fit and the direction, what I need to do is reposition this, or those individually. That's probably the best way to go. So what I would do to do this is I would get the location and the rotation of this for the other weapons, and then what you can do is you need to parent obviously your objects to other objects. So this collision's paired to what I called sword collision. It's called hammer because of the names on the object that was brought in. So the sword collision, what I'd want to do is actually take it off the deparent it so it stands still, because it'll move with the idle. Or I can remove the idle that in the animation. That would do the same thing. So what I'm going to do is just reposition this roughly as a better trace. Now I think if I was actually making it for the game, what I'd want is maybe three traces along there, one in the middle, one on the end, and maybe a couple down the arm, just so, because even though you might swing past and only hit them with the arm, I guess it's kind of it's not really fun if it's not the collision isn't very good. So I've written down the previous transform, and now I'm just moving this round into a rough place. It doesn't have to be accurate because I'm not going to be using this. So this is purely just to be good guy Greg and do a tutorial for somebody else who needs help, because I know I've been stuck a number of times. So scale and fit the traces to something that works a little better. Alright, that'll do. That's just on the blade, so that's not ideal, but we'll go with that. So next thing is to write down the transform. These details over here on the right hand side in your details. So get that information. You need those numbers. What you can do, which is what I often do, is just make them whole numbers or round them up and down just to make it easier for, because obviously those little fractions aren't going to make much difference. Oh, actually, I've gone around the wrong way. So pair it up. Pair it to the object and get it as accurate as you can. You see how it moves funny once the idle. The other option is to remove the idle. So from the animation sequence and then do it and then put it back on. That's just as good, I've found. There's probably a button here to switch off the animation. If anybody knows where that is, please drop a line in the comments and save me from myself. So write down these details, and you, like I said, round them to whole numbers or near enough, just to make it 0.3 minus 6.6. You don't have to do this. I mean, you can just write down near enough numbers. I don't think it matters too much. Minus 178. Or I guess you can change it here too, so it only moves in solid numbers. That'd do the same thing. 0.09, 0.9, and 0.09. That's the scale of those objects from the default. And now it's off kilter just a touch. But we're going to go with that. Good enough for a tutorial. So yeah, tweak that until you get that fairly accurate, and round the numbers, write the numbers down. Fortunately, I've kind of got some earlier. So then if you test this out, your new weapon has, and you're probably saying, yeah, but when you change the sword, it's wrong. And you would be right to say that everything is out of sync. So I've written down the previous transform, and the next thing, as long as you've got those details, the next thing is to go into your event graph. And here I've just got a quick weapon switch, and all that does is, it's not even set up properly. I don't intend to actually have weapon swapping. Maybe pickups, but not swapping. What I want to do is right click, press number 4, even though I would normally do an input so that later when I set up the menu, it will be editable and not permanently as number 4, because people like to switch them around. I know I do in most games. Thanks to Battlefield 2 and using number 3 as my main gun, I have to do that with every game or else I get confused. So you've got the set skeletal mesh. Basically, you drag in the object that you want to set the skeletal mesh from the left side from your components, and then you can go set skeletal mesh. Right click and then type in set skeletal. You get this. You can do it that way. Sorry, I'm getting a little confused. It didn't do exactly what I thought, but either one works fine. I like this one because it's a little more modular. Sometimes it depends what the target is. So it says here target, base character, the hammer. So that's what we've got, the hammer, set the skeletal mesh. Okay, so that changes the mesh. That's really simple. The mesh has been imported to be the right size, so when I press play, I can swap between my message. Oh, actually, no, that didn't work. What did I do? You saw me do it, didn't you? Yes. New mesh is a scythe-boned bladed. This one. Alright, there we have it. So swap between. There's our weapon with the cool the traces all set up. Right. But they need to change. So what do? Well, you get the sword collision, drag and drop it in. That's the collision box that I showed you before. And then we want to the set world transform. Set world transform. Yes. So what world transform gives you are those three, the location, rotation, and scale. So drag off your new transform and make the transform. You can just do location if the scale's all right and the rotation's all good, but for the sake of well, I mean, if your weapon's going to be different, so you can do that with each individual collision point if you've got a complex weapon. So you can actually have a whole row of setting the location, but for the sake of a tutorial, I'm just going to use the one shape to show you, and then the rest is history. So what we want to do is put in the original location of the collision trace. Rotation is 8.5 minus 40, 85. And the scale is 0.09, 0.09. Now you can use sockets for this. If I haven't done it that way because I'm kind of doing stuff on the fly until I have it, but I think somebody will probably clarify that. But I think sockets might be better for this. I think they're more custom made than having an overlap. You know, it's not. I mean, I can use it later, I guess. So what I've done is I put the previous one. We know these first three weapons have the same transform. So we'll copy that 3 times, and I can then make small adjustments now with each of those. Yeah, fail. All right, let's do that one more time, or not. Let's click on those first, press Ctrl W to duplicate those, throw them down there, link them up, and change the numbers for the new one. So that one was minus 184, zeros. Now I'm not editing this video because there's probably 3 people who will probably watch it total. So I'm just you're gonna have to sit through this exciting stuff. This exciting editing process. You know, usually people fast forward and play terrible music. Sorry guys, your music sucks. And the last one is the same. That means I've made a mistake. 1.9 for that. I'm going to have to do that for each one. This is why I have to test everything. Right, so that looks okay to me. Let's try that. So I've changed the location of the traces dynamically. That comes with the change. Let's see what happens. Did I do it right? So there's the default. Change to 2. And something's not right. What's wrong here? What have I done? Everything's broken. Terrible job. Alright, what did I do? I guess it's good to make these mistakes because then it shows you what I did wrong. I know what I've done. What I need to do is, I think, there we go. No, sorry, this is what did I use last time? I'm so forgetful. This was last night. Set set world And world location and rotation. No, that's not right. Set world transform. Set relative. Relative? Relative transform. Set relative transform. Let's try that. That could work. So this is kind of a back. I'd like to put it down there, but never mind me yabbering away. Let's just try this and see if I've got that right before I go ahead and claim everything's all set perfectly and fail miserably. There we go. So that's clarifying things. So easy to make that mistake. I won't go back because right. Okay. That fail will be recorded in history. Right. So what I need to do is set relative transform. So what I was actually doing is sending it off somewhere in the world, not being relative. So you can, you know, transport things to locations dynamically. So I'm just going to link that back up bit by bit. Isn't this exciting to watch? It's like fantastic. It just doesn't get any better than this, guys. You know, this is what gets you out of bed in the morning. Right, let's see if that works. My money's on yes. Hopefully no errors. Right, there's the trace on the just on the hilt. So when I do it's very accurate. Switch out to the sword, to the hammer, to the axe, to the sweat from.
I'ma kill you, boy.
Oh, you think you're all that? So.
I'ma get you now. Squeal like a pig.
All right. So, and that's that. There's your weapon switching.
Squeal like a pig.
And there's your trace handling. Ah, that was that example. You see how I need a couple on the handle, so I'll just use the stab because I can't miss. And there you have it. Okay. Well, that was it. That was the tutorial. If I've missed out on anything or failed hard, I apologize. But hopefully there's somebody out there like me being helped out a lot by this, because I try to put up, if I figure out how to do something, then I want to put up a video to help other people like me who are trying to find the information. You know, I'm here to make a game, but I'm also here to help people. Like good guy Greg. Alright, so well, something looks wrong there. Looks like the physics asset hasn't scaled. That's interesting. Have to remember that. Scale first, then physics asset. Never mind. It explains a lot, actually. Okay, well, I'll skip over the failings and thanks for watching. Cheers.